Let's talk about the worst line of the debate, okay? So during the debate, there were numerous moments where I feel like Hillary Clinton was defensive, okay, to say the least. And there was a lot of talk about whether or not Hillary is considered a true progressive. And she doesn't like those questions, okay? And she got really fiery during this one portion where she talks about, you know, well, what about all these other politicians? Are they progressive? And I thought that that was the worst line. So let's go to that.
But I've heard Senator Sanders' comments, and it's really caused me to wonder who's left in the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Under his definition, President Obama is not progressive because he took donations from Wall Street. Vice President Biden is not progressive because he supported Keystone. Senator Shaheen is not progressive because she supports the Trade Pact. Even the late, great Senator Paul Wellstone would not fit this definition because he voted for DOMA. You know, we have differences, and honestly, I think we should be talking about what we want to do for the country. But if we're going to get into labels, I don't think it was particularly progressive to vote against the Brady Bill 5 times. I don't think it was progressive to vote to give gun makers and sellers immunity. I don't think it was progressive to vote against Ted Kennedy's immigration reform. So we can go back and forth like this, but the fact is, most people watching tonight want to know what we've done and what we will do.
So none of them are progressive. Okay.
I thought that was super effective of her at the end.
At the end, it was.
At the beginning, she starts naming a lot of Democratic politicians that liberals are upset with. She's like, oh, he's not a progressive. No, we're fucking upset about that. Yeah. And then she slips in Paul Wellstone at the end because of DOMA from the...
Yeah, that was the worst line of the debate because it demonstrated that she's completely unaware of what it means to be a progressive. If you think that President Obama is a progressive, you're sadly mistaken. I thought he was a progressive when he was campaigning in 08, and then very quickly I realized he wasn't, and then I was embarrassed.
Yeah. And then what he did was his biggest accomplishment was Obamacare. Obamacare, which is basically the plan from the Heritage Foundation from 1989. So this is basically, his progressive agenda was instituting a corporate policy from fucking 20 years ago.
What I love about that is what it tells you, not about that moment, but what it tells you about the last couple of days, because she heard, oh, I'm not progressive. Okay, well, here's 5 politicians and things that prove they weren't progressive, which I have a feeling she didn't come up with on the spot, which meant she did research. What unprogressive things did all these politicians do, which I think is awesome. And by the way, it might seem ridiculous for us to be implying that she's uncomfortable with being labeled a progressive, because you think, oh, it's 2016. We're progressives. Democrats are progressives. Man, it wasn't like 5 years ago that was still a contentious term. 10 years ago, nobody was calling themselves a progressive. They were like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm a liberal. Yeah. Maybe. They wouldn't even freely admit they're a liberal. They'd say they're liberal in private. Right. They wouldn't freely admit that. They certainly wouldn't say they're a progressive. And she's not new to politics. She was in politics 10 years before that switchover even began. So she probably does feel extremely uncomfortable calling herself that.
Hillary got upset with Bernie during this debate because she feels like he's the one who brought this whole progressive issue to everyone's attention. And Bernie responded to that. So let's go to that video.
This whole discussion began because I commented, not making an overall evaluation about the secretary. She was in Ohio, I think in September or November. And she got up and said something like, I have been, I'm paraphrasing, I have been criticized because people think I'm a moderate. Well, I am a moderate. That's where this came from. It wasn't me paraphrasing her. It is what she said. And all that I said is nothing wrong with being a moderate. But you can't be a moderate. You can't be a progressive. In terms of President Obama, do I think President Obama is a progressive? Yeah, I do. I disagree with him on a number of issues, including the trade agreement. But yes, I think he has done an excellent job.
So Bernie Sanders is in a difficult position because he doesn't want to isolate himself from Democrats by claiming that Obama is not a progressive. But Obama's not a progressive. Bernie Sanders knows that. Hillary doesn't seem to really know that.
He knows that a lot of other Democrats don't know that, though.
Right. And here's the thing. I think that she brought up Obama in her progressive answer or her defense of her progressive nature. because she knew that Bernie would then have to address Obama and either attack him or just concede that he's a progressive.
Yeah.
But he's not a progressive.
Can I just make one side point about the word progressive? In 1984, a young man named Jimmy Dore ran for academic senate at the Illinois State University, and I was on the Progressive Party, and my campaign manager was Pete D'Alessandro, who was the Iowa campaign coordinator for Bernie Sanders.
Wow, that's amazing.
So there you go.
Look at you.
And I won.
Damn.
Nice.
Stud in the 90s.
Thank you very much.
You ran a lot of great ads with
was
lots of
1980.
money from Goldman Sachs.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right.
But then I'm proud to be a moderate progressive.
Of course, yeah. Whichever you like better, I'm that.
I like going forward and reverse. What about you? Don't you ever just go forward and go, "Rawr, look at me, I'm progressively, moderately, backwards and forward"?